Snapshots of 15 top emerging markets. As we review the economic influences to industrialization that make these 15 countries the fastest emerging markets in the world, take note of the commonalities. Also note that these commonalities appear to outweigh the unique characteristics of each country and allow globalization despite a nation's challenges. Brazil. Brazil is widely considered to be one of the world's largest emerging markets on about the same scale as China. It is Latin America's largest economy and in the world's top 10 for purchasing power parity, or PPP, per the World Bank. And it is one of the big four BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, the top emerging markets. Brazil's transition from a labor country to a world market industrialization nation is characterized by some impactful milestones. Manufacturing and export of aircraft, electrical equipment, automobiles, ethanol, textiles, and footwear, mining and export of iron ore and steel, agricultural development and export of coffee, orange juice, soybeans, and beef, its free float currency exchange in which its currency is set by the foreign exchange market through supply and demand for that particular currency relative to other currencies, a $30 billion monetary fund rescue package in 2002, foreign direct investment, or FDI, in 2007 of $193 billion, $707 billion of mergers and acquisitions in the first decade of the 21st century, and $115 billion of U.S. dollar business in 2010. Hungary. Hungary's first step to becoming an emerging market economy was its conversion from communism to multi-party democracy in 1990. This transition from a centrally planned economy is due also in large part from foreign investment, and by reducing government spending and demonstrating economic growth, it became part of the European Union, EU, in 2004. Its industrialization milestones include its private sector making up for 80% of its economy, FDI accounting for over one-third of its business support, $185 billion in U.S. investment in 2 decades since 1989, low corporate taxes, ease of investment by foreign investors, being part of the EU single market, and inclusion in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OEDC, and the World Trade Organization, WTO, in 1996. Mexico. Mexico's decreasing foreign debt and increasing gross domestic product, GDP, account for its position in the top 20 emerging markets. With an average income of over $26,000, it has seen steady growth in its upper middle class. Its industrialization is an emerging market due in large part to such milestones as 50% of its exports going to the U.S. and Canada, the U.S.'s $46 billion trade deficit to Mexico in 2010, $20 billion per year infused into the economy by Mexican nationals working in the U.S., and manufacturing and export of automobiles, the largest in North America, electronics, aircraft, and American-branded household appliances. Poland. Poland's economy has benefited from the fall of communism, and it has uniquely avoided the recession of 2000, in part because of its large-scale privatization of state-owned companies in industries like railways, steel, and coal. It has even sold major infrastructure systems like the telecom industry to outside investors. Poland's industrialization milestones include being one of the leading food producers in the EU, its push to adopt the euro by 2013, ownership of 40% of the 500 largest corporations in Central Europe, a developing tourism industry, being a major exporter of coal, its fast-growing urbanization, and its superior education system. South Africa. South Africa is a dichotomous country. Although it has a high rate of poverty, it also has a healthy middle-income sector. It also has a wealth of natural resources, well-developed and modern business services and transportation infrastructure, and massive urbanization in 4 major cities that serve as the business centers of the country. The country has become globalized by beginning to attract foreign capital in 1994, relaxing previously strict labor laws, privatizing government-run industry, being the largest energy producer in the African continent, building tourism and winemaking industries, establishing strong international trade with the U.S., China, Japan, the UK, and Spain, and becoming one of the largest exporters in the world of corn, diamonds, fruits, gold, metals and minerals, sugar, and wool. Taiwan. The Taiwan miracle refers to the country's incredibly fast industrialization post-1950. When Taiwan was under Japan's sovereignty, a good communications and transportation infrastructure was developed. When the government subsequently came under Chinese control with its own KMT government structure, it brought a golden currency reserve from the mainland that stabilized its economy. Additional industrialization is due in part to the U.S. subsidizing domestic production of goods that were previously imported, increase of capitalism and development of an export-driven economy, decreased government investment and involvement in industry, increased agricultural and technology investment in China, Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Vietnam, and avoidance of the impact of the 1997 Asian financial crisis. Chile. Although Chile has significant economic inequality, it has a stable and globalized economy overall. It became a strong democracy in 1990 and began a strong period of economic growth. Despite some economic downturn in 1999 because of the Asian financial crisis, Chile has managed to industrialize and subsequently boost wages and living standards consistently, in part through big domestic savings, high domestic investments in business, about $4 billion in FDI annually, and development of electricity, gas, water, and mining industries. China. In the 1960s, China began an evolution past collectivized communal industry, developing a free market model. Because the economy became competitive, standards of living improved, and China quickly became one of the fastest globalization and emerging economies in history. Factors contributing to this include decollectivization of agricultural, privatization of business, foreign investment attributed to increasing the export revenues by $170 billion per year since 2001, $700 billion of foreign investment in the country by 2006, establishing itself as the world's biggest producer of concrete, steel, ships, textiles, and automobiles and components. Colombia. Colombia is a very recent emerging market. Most of its globalization has occurred since the 1999 recession. Its 2010 status of being 82nd in the world for PPP is due in part to keeping inflation low, rapid 20th century urbanization, its vast natural and agricultural resources including petroleum, coal, gold, emeralds, coffee, and cut flowers, trade with and investment by the U.S., reforms in customs practices to ease import and export, development of a strong tourism industry, and development of a high-functioning internal transportation infrastructure. The Czech Republic. As a post-communist state, the Czech Republic was widely privatized business, including industries such as banking, telecommunications, energy, and even airports. It has also begun a strong program to export to the EU, especially Germany. Other factors contributing to its fast industrialization and emerging market status include ongoing liberalization of its economy, opening its borders to all its neighboring nations, joining the World Trade Organization in 2007, plans to adopt the euro by 2013, having a superior education system, proactive improvement of its transportation and communications infrastructure, and value to the world for its strong science, history, and community. Egypt. In 2011 political unrest notwithstanding, Egypt's economy has been steadily improving for 2 decades. Although the standard of living has stabilized, the country is in the international market because it exports agriculture, media, and petroleum, has a strong tourism industry, has 3 million citizens working in foreign countries and infusing their earnings into the Egyptian economy, receives an average of $2.2 billion in foreign aid from the U.S. annually, has a strong energy market of coal, oil, natural gas, and hydropower, decreased corporate taxes significantly in 2005, and increased overall non-U.S. FDI to about $6 billion per year. India. In 1991, India opened its economy to the world, vastly reducing state regulation and intervention in commerce, and developed a free market economy emphasizing foreign trade and investment. Milestones that make India one of the fastest growing industrialized nations in the world include its 460 million person workforce, major agricultural production of rice, wheat, oilseed, cotton, jute, tea, sugarcane, and potatoes, strong textile, telecommunications, chemicals, food processing, steel, transport, equipment, cement, mining, petroleum, machinery, and software industries, epic exporting of petroleum products, textile goods, gems and jewelry, software, engineering goods, chemicals, and leather, urbanization at the rate of 431 million citizens in 3 decades, second largest outsourcing ranking after the U.S., fastest growing telecommunications industry in the world, second fastest growing automobile manufacturing industry. Indonesia. Indonesia is about 50% privatized, with industries, services, and agriculture making up the majority of its commerce. The country has strong exporting ties to Japan, Singapore, the U.S., and China. Its status as an emerging economy is due in part to its extensive natural resources, including crude oil, natural gas, tin, copper, and gold, exports of oil and gas, electrical appliances, plywood, rubber, and textiles, member status in OPEC, post-1989 foreign investment, post-2007 improvements in banking systems, internal and foreign investment, and growth of domestic consumption. The Philippines. This country has major trade partnerships established with China, Japan, the U.S., Singapore, Hong Kong, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, Thailand, and Malaysia. Once an agriculture-based economy, it is now service and manufacturing-based. Its industrialization milestones include economic liberalization in 1990, fiscal conservatism by the government, extensive system of remittances and transfers of money by foreign workers to his or her home country, and growing FDI, growth in tourism and outsourcing industries, membership in the World Trade Organization. Russia. Russia has tremendous natural resources, including oil and gas, and evolving political stability and domestic consumption. Its growth was primarily driven by internal trade of domestic products and services, but is now becoming strongly export-driven. Milestones of Russia's rapid emergence include increase of foreign reserves from 12 to 597 billion in 1 decade through oil export, a stabilization fund of Russia focused on macroeconomics and paying off foreign debt, streamlined tax code increasing state revenues, high percentage of graduate degree people in the workforce, focus on infrastructure and overhaul by 2020, being the 3rd largest grain exporter in the world, privatizing agriculture, massive fishing industry, status as an energy superpower, and rich history in the sciences and ongoing status as a science power. It doesn't take an economist to see the common threads between these 15 countries in regards to their status as powerful emerging markets. In every case, liberalization of economics and privatization of industry is a major player. Foreign investment, once this has happened, is also always a prominent influence. This concludes Business Training's Snapshots of 15 Top Emerging Markets. Thank you.